smoke is still rising behind you. You don't turn around to look at it again. You already know what's there. The castle your lord lived in for 30 years is now a black skeleton against the sky, and the man you swore your life to is dead. Your sword is still at your hip. It feels heavier than it did this morning, because this morning it meant something. Right now it means nothing at all. You are Ronin, not soldier, not retainer, not samurai in the way the word used to fit you, just a wave cut loose from the shore that used to hold it. In feudal Japan, your entire identity was built on a single word: service. A samurai didn't exist as an individual the way people think of individuals today. You existed in relation to someone above you, a lord, a clan, a purpose handed to you before you could even hold a sword properly. So when that lord falls, defeated, disgraced, or dead with no heir to inherit his name, you don't just lose a job. You lose the structure that told you who you were. There's no ceremony for this. No one sits you down and explains what comes next. One day you're a retainer. The next you're a man standing in the ashes of someone else's defeat, holding a weapon that no longer has an order attached to it. Walk into the next village and watch what happens. The innkeeper's eyes flick to your sword first, your face second. He's deciding right now whether you're a paying guest or a problem. You can feel it. Everyone can feel it. A Ronin walking into a town puts a hand near every weapon in the room before a single word is spoken. You sit, you eat, you don't explain yourself, because there's nothing short enough to say. This is the part almost nobody understands about the Ronin. He wasn't feared because he was dangerous. Every samurai was dangerous. He was distrusted because his loyalty had already failed once before, even if the failure wasn't his fault. A served lord vouches for his samurai, a dead lord vouches for nothing. 3 days later, a merchant finds you. He needs a blade on a dangerous road just for one trip. He doesn't trust you. He just needs you more than he distrusts you. You take the job because a Ronin without coin is a Ronin who starves with dignity, and dignity doesn't fill a stomach. This is the life now. Walk, watch. Wait for someone to need exactly what you are, just long enough to pay for the next meal. Some Ronin built something more permanent out of this uncertainty. They opened small dojos in quiet corners of cities, teaching swordsmanship to students who would never see a real battlefield. There's a strange dignity in that, taking the exact skill that defined your old life and turning it into a gift for someone else's future, even when no one is fighting for a lord anymore. Other Ronin tried to disappear entirely. They became farmers, merchants, men who buried their swords, literally and figuratively, hoping to become ordinary again. You try that path once. You last 4 months. Your hands keep drifting back to your hip where the sword used to sit, even with empty air there. Your body was trained for something specific for years, maybe decades, and it does not know how to simply stop being that thing just because the world stopped asking for it. So you pick the sword back up. Now follow 46 other men exactly like you 2 years from this moment. Their lord was forced to die by his own hand after a court dispute that wasn't even his fault, humiliated by a rival before the entire ruling class of Japan. In an instant, 47 samurai became 47 Ronin, their status erased along with their lord's life. They were scattered, stripped of rank, watched every single day by spies who fully expected revenge, because revenge is exactly what the code demanded of them. So they don't take revenge, not yet. Watch one of them sit in a tea house, drunk, loud, embarrassing himself in public on purpose. Watch his old friends turn their faces away from him in disgust, not knowing it's a performance. Watch the spies relax, report back, convince these men have lost whatever discipline they once had. That's the plan. Become nothing, on purpose, until nothing is exactly what no one is watching anymore. 2 years pass like this. 2 years of swallowed pride, public disgrace, and private patience, every single day reaffirming a decision made once and never spoken about again. Then one winter night, 47 men move at once. No hesitation, no mercy. Years of humiliation converted, in a single coordinated hour, into the only outcome that was ever going to satisfy it. They storm the residence of the man responsible for their lord's death. They find him, they take his head, and lay it at their own lord's grave, finally closing the loop the entire world assumed they had abandoned. And then every one of them kneels, accepts the death sentence the law demands of them in return, and does not resist it. You feel that story differently than you expect to. Not because of the killing, because of the waiting, because you know exactly what it costs to hold onto a code the world has already told you doesn't matter anymore. This story, the 47 Ronin, became one of the most retold tales in Japanese history, performed in kabuki theater, rewritten in films, referenced for centuries after the real men involved were gone. Not because revenge is rare, because patience that disciplined is. Now come back to right now, the world you actually live in. Your job ends without warning, a company dissolves, a role you spent years building your identity around simply isn't needed anymore. The structure that told you who you were for so long disappears overnight, and nobody asks if you're ready for that. You still have the discipline, you still have the skill, you just don't have anywhere left to put it, at least not yet, at least not in the shape it used to take. That's the moment, that's you, standing exactly where the Ronin stood, sword still at your hip, world no longer asking you to be anything at all. He had three choices, and so do you. Sell the skill to whoever will pay for it, even if they never fully trust you. Turn it into something you teach instead of something you wield, or try to bury it completely and discover, the way he did, that it doesn't stay buried. The Ronin story has outlived feudal Japan by centuries, echoing through film and fiction long after real Ronin stopped walking real roads, and maybe that's the reason. Almost everyone at some point becomes a version of him. The sword was never really the point. The discipline underneath it was. A sword without a master is still a sword. The question the Ronin had to answer, the one that's quietly waiting for you too, is what you do with yours now that no one is telling you where to point it.